Hello everyone, my name is Gianna Tremarco.
I'm Carly Hecht.
And welcome to the 5th episode of Mappy Hour, Moving Out of Map.
Thank you for joining us, Joey and Jaime. We're so excited to have you guys. Would you guys start by introducing yourself and where you were a MAP and now where you are as a project manager?
Absolutely. First off, thanks for having us. My name is Jaime Perez. I'm currently a project manager at Manhattan Ear and Throat Hospital, also known as MEAT, and I used to be with the Brooklyn regional team starting 2 years ago.
Thanks so much for having us. I was a MAP at the Cancer Institute, and now I'm a project manager at Lenox Health Greenwich Village.
Well, thank you guys again for coming. We thought you guys would be awesome guests for the transition into MAP as you're freshly out of the program. It's been, 5 months in these new roles?
Yeah,
Congratulations. And right now we're actually in this transition of we have our new MAPs onboarding, or they've been here for about 2 months now. And we're getting ready to prepare portfolios and really just start looking at the other opportunities that exist beyond our current role. So.
And have the maps reference this during that time of transition as well. So, awesome.
Yeah.
So we first wanted to ask you both, what was the transition like from MAP to your PM role?
Yeah, well, I can start on that. I think it was fortunately really smooth on my end. I think that's thanks to both my old team at Brooklyn, my new team at MEAT, because I, for a while, had a transition period. I started in January, about doing once a week at MEAT. And then from there until the end of March is when I officially transitioned to MEAT. And I think that was a really helpful aspect. I'm, again, appreciative of both teams for working together on that and understanding the situation. Obviously, there's always going to be some challenges. You know, in my case, one of the big things was I went from being at Brooklyn region, as Gianna knows, where a team of, when I was there, was 11 people, to now I'm full-time every day in a facility of 500 people.
Wow.
So you go from that transition from having a really intimate small team to having a much larger one. So that obviously impacts the project. But overall, no complaints. Again, thanks to both teams that worked together to make it as smooth as possible for everyone.
And then, Joey, for you started reverse commuting.
Yeah.
Starting off at Cancer, now in the city. So I'm sure your transition looked a lot different as well.
Obviously, there was a big transition going from a service line to a freestanding ED, but also, working for what will be a community hospital. Another thing is moving from, a primarily central region area where I was kind of found myself having most of my network just being that I was here every day, to moving to a western region and building an entire network over there. Kind of helpful for me during that transition time. I tried to do the best I could to meet more people. And also having Jaime at MEAT and Megan Amasi at Lenox Hill has been kind of helpful with our MAP cohort kind of spreading across, because even in the span of a couple months, we were all in different locations, and I reach out to them all the time, with any questions, even Western region related.
Right. I can speak this. Jaime was my mentor prior, our second year MAP, and even we have our cadence still. We meet bi-weekly, so
yeah,
I know that relationship trickles down, hopefully for everyone, as they move forward out of the program and into their first role. I am curious, what key takeaways from each of your sites did you bring to your everyday work life in your current role?
In your first year, just in general, you're really just trying to navigate undergraduate to post-college and what that even looks like. Second year, more specifically, kind of taking on that mentor role and taking on a first year, really working with them and navigating how to delegate tasks and stuff. I think moving into my new role where we have a first year MAP, administrative fellow, and then just kind of figuring out, I was doing kind of both those together, figuring out myself and, how to navigate my new environment, but also delegate tasks that, I'm still learning how to do. So, MAP is only a year and a half, 2 years, and it's important to really diversify your skill set because, you're going to have to keep learning as you go into different roles.
And something I'm taking note of as I'm entering my second year is it's called the Management Associate Program. So the way it's structured, where you're the second year MAP, you do acquire those management and mentorship skills. So you may not even realize it, but you did acquire those skills in your second year of MAP when you had 2 first-year associates under you. And, while you are a project manager and you were a management associate before, you were a project manager on a multitude of projects prior.
Yeah, and just going off what Joey said, I think a really important part is just how being in the Brooklyn region definitely helped me develop certain skills that develop that foundation that put me in a position to succeed, I'd say, at MEAT. There's a lot of different skills that I learned in Brooklyn and are just applicable anywhere. whether it's problem solving, whether it's data analysis, whether it's relationship management, all things that are applicable in Brooklyn, they're also just applicable honestly anywhere. So even if the task that you have at hand or the question you're trying to answer may be completely different, coming with a different context, the foundation is still there. And that's definitely thanks to those, 2 years I spent in Brooklyn, just having different types of projects, working with different team members. That just, like I said, sets the foundation for future success. And I think that's something, the ideal goal of any facility, any site, or any department or region you work at. You just want to have that foundation.
So, Jaime, how do you educate yourself on when you're working with different departments that you're PMing for?
Yeah, so I think honestly the first step for me is that usually the project will come from one of my managers or someone on the admin team, so I'll just have that initial conversation with them to get a better understanding. And then from there, usually the next steps will be just having that first meeting with the department lead, department manager, whoever it is. And usually in those meetings, especially for ones where it's my first time, everyone knows I'm new to the team, so thankfully I've been super understanding. So kind of builds on the relationship management. I'm trying to get to know this department lead or department manager who I'm going to be working with for many years in the future. I think the big thing is always don't pretend that you know what you don't know, because that's just going to get you in trouble. I let them know where I'm coming from about, me coming from admin. My role is to make everything better for their department, for the facility. We're collaborating, we're working as a team, we're trying to do the best that we can. So just letting them know that we're trying to get that understanding and just being open and honest about that.
And a huge part about that is not becoming an expert in every single department and every single area within the hospital, but knowing who to ask for certain questions and knowing who to go to and really building onto those projects with the right team. And part of that is building trust within those teams. So you being transparent and open about, I'm new here, I'm not fully understanding of this exact project or, whatever the strategy is here, is only going to build trust with those teams, and they're going to lean on you in the future for when you do know the answers to
Do
those.
you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, me and Jaime had a very similar, I guess, MAP experience in that, we both were kind of consulting other spaces. And I think one huge takeaway, kind of going back to that first question, one of the biggest takeaways from that was being able to have partners at all these sites. Growing into a hospital, a lot of our services are working with Lenox Hill, and having partners over there and knowing who to ask and developing those relationships so you're not a stranger, asking these questions and, knowing the right people to ask is definitely a key thing that I was able to bring from my experiences in MAP to my next role.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear these responses because while we've interviewed mostly MAP alumni, it's so great to hear the perspective of two people fresh out of the program. And when people ask me what is the management associate program, my answer is often, it's a 2-year program and essentially you're fit to be a manager of any given department or area by the end of the 2 years. And just to hear your perspectives on how this program and your sites have prepared you and have set you up for success is not only inspiring but truly exciting for our future, and I'm sure everyone who's watching. So thank you. So that being said, what can you suggest for someone who's just entered the MAP program and they're ready to acquire these skills we're talking about and begin their network and start building their brand?
Yeah, I think coming to the MAP program, a big emphasis is networking, just to figure out, what you like and what you don't like. And I think, just really reaching out to a bunch of different people in different areas of healthcare really help you make that decision. I actually kind of knew I wanted to go into some emergency-related field fairly early on. I had a background as an EMT and a firefighter. I was really interested in moving back into a hospital emergency environment. So I guess, for people who are looking for something that they want to do and helps them kind of narrow down, which individuals that they might identify with a lot.
No, I know what you're saying. Just kind of tap into those interests and passions. And obviously the first year is all about, data analytics and project management, but you also want to explore the system. These 2 years are an opportunity to really explore what exists out there, and it's a really large system and there's many different layers to the system, so take full advantage of that.
Right. I was just going to quickly add what you put in is what you get out, and we can see that already as second year, and they see that as post grad. So
No, absolutely. And to give the answer another lens, obviously Joey makes a really important part about the networking, how that's pivotal to the MAP role. I think another thing that current MAPs and people who are just starting should take into account is I know they've just been the first few months where the biggest part is you're kind of learning your site, department or team, whatever, learning about what your projects will be, what your team members are, etc. Now it's kind of time to start putting those skills into practice. They're gonna start realizing, month 3, 4, 5, 6 in, they're like, okay, these are the projects I'm gonna be doing the most. I need to be good at whether it's Excel, whether it's PMing, whether it's data analysis, whether it's process improvement projects, whether it's presenting. It's going to vary by site just because we have so much diversity within Northwell in terms of what roles you can have. So now is definitely the time to start developing those skills and making sure you become, quote unquote, a master of what your pivotal role is going to be. Because the most important thing for you in the MAP program is you want to excel at your own role. That's how you start, and that's how you gain trust within your team, and how you gain approval from the team members, from different people within Northwell. But I guess now is a pretty pivotal moment for the MAPs entering, because this is where you're starting to realize this is what I'm going to be focusing on for the next few months or year and a half, etc. So let's try to develop those skills and do my best at it.
I think so too. It's such a privilege to be young because we have that opportunity to make mistakes. In a couple years from now, we won't have this leniency of being able to mess up. So these 2 years for everyone entering in, I can't emphasize enough, make mistakes and make yourself uncomfortable, as you've seen. You both did that, and now your transition was smooth and you feel confident in your roles.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I thought this was such a valuable conversation, and this will be such a great episode for our first year MAPs and our second year MAPs. And this will give clarity to the managers as well, is that they're doing their job and they're setting you guys up for success.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. All right, everyone, stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you. Jaime and Joey.
Thanks for having us. I'm Joey Tenner, and you go ahead and stop laughing. I think we need 1 second to collect ourselves, all right? Be a part of it. New York, New York.
All right.
I want to wake up.